I don't think it's me. I think it's Manel.
That
Is
sounds
it
right.
me?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go. So, you know what? Right off the bat, I'm just gonna say that I don't really like Sally Rooney. I don't like her books. I don't like her writing. It's not my cup of tea.
Hmm.
Because I've read her previous books, Beautiful World and Normal People, and I thought the exact same thing. They were so pretentious to me. It's like,
Okay.
Sorry.
to me, it feels so pretentious. And she exclusively writes about sad and depressed people, I feel like. And I don't know whether you guys feel that way, but to me, it feels like that. But then that's really rich coming from us who just read A Little Life. That was like depressing, so depressing. This one is not as depressing as that, but it's so, I don't know, so one dimensional with its melancholy, I guess. That's what I feel like. Yeah. But to me, it's her writing is always very pretentious, and that's what I feel like. And to me, the story still feels a bit very stiff, also. Like, I don't think this is plot driven, it's very character driven, and we do get a deep dive into the characters, and I really appreciate that. But again, most of the conversations, it's like you wouldn't hear these conversations in real life, right? And fine, it is fiction, it's not real life, so that doesn't matter. But like some conversations, I'm like, people don't talk this way. So that's what I feel right now. I don't have too much to say because nothing really happened, even though we're like 9 chapters in. It's just the character dynamics that's really interesting. It's a different perspective, I guess. So yeah, that's all I have right now.
All right. Dang, a scathing review from Manel. I feel like we haven't been getting enough of those, so I missed.
Well, there
We
you
haven't.
go.
You want to go or you want to go last?
I can go. I
Okay.
also just want to start with saying I fucking hate Tesla drivers. Jesus Christ. Anyways, um,
Since we're on the subject.
yeah, Manel nailed it square on the head. This is just a pretentious book to me. Are you guys listening or are you this is my okay, so let me just like rewind. This is my first Sally Rooney book. I've never read any other Sally Rooney books, but I always see like cool girls give reviews of Sally Rooney books and all kinds of shit, or like, people that look cool. So I was like, oh well, I want to read a Sally Rooney book. Like I want to be part of the fucking club. And now they're all just fucking posers and losers who like to be sad. But anyways,
What does
so
pretentious mean to both of you? I'm just curious, like, so I can understand what you.
me,
Yeah.
somebody who just wants to think that they're better than somebody else, like they just think they're cooler than
Oh,
everybody. Like,
sorry,
oh, I
sorry.
read
I
Sally
get. Yeah,
Rooney.
I guess I know. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, how does that
But
relate to
what,
this book? Like, what? Like, what about? Is it the you feel like the author is pretentious to you, or you feel
The
like they
author
are
is like
pretentious?
using big words. Yeah. So to me, when
Okay.
I think this
Okay.
is a pretentious book, the author is just using like elaborate words, long
Okay.
sentences, its
So it's when
own
the
way of
author is
writing, but it doesn't
condescending
really.
to us. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but and it's not even like condescending. It's just like the writing style with like no really like plot. There's like no meat. Like Manel said, there's really nothing to it. And I know it's like literary fiction, so it's more character driven or whatever, but I still feel like you can have a character driven book that just gives you more. And I don't want to be sad. I don't want to fucking be sad. I don't want to hear about like all. I mean, I do to some extent. Fucking, I wanted to be sad. It's just not my favorite type of book. Okay, so to me, that's like how it is. So I agree with Manel. Like, there's really and the thing. Okay, guys, I can never finish a sentence. But the thing about pretentious books is like there's a whole lot of stuff, but nothing's really going on. But it
mm-hmm.
sounds just like really crazy and very deep, and everybody's has these like deep emotional characters, but there in reality there's really nothing fucking going on, and
Yeah.
that's what a pretentious book is to me. It's just like, okay, big words, a lot of crazy characters, but at the end of the day there's really nothing happening. There's not, you know what I mean? So that's how I feel about this book. I like the characters. I think they're interesting. um Peter just sounds like a fucking, oh,
Mm.
hold on. Peter just sounds like a like a bore. Ivan and Margaret. Peter's weird girlfriend. What's her name? Jamie, Namie? I don't know.
Naomi and Sylvia.
Yeah.
Naomi,
Yes,
the
true.
whole Sylvie thing, like, and okay, and then so here's the thing: if I wanted to be that far in somebody's fucking head, like, I'd be in my own bitch. All right, I got going on in my own head that sounds like that, but I don't want to fucking hear it from a man. Like, absolutely not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why is he like what? Like, what the fuck is he going through? Like, why? I'm sorry, but I would never think. I don't know. I would never assume a man is that fucking deep in his head. Like, Peter, like, you're a fucking lawyer. You have money. You have a fucking woman who you can basically be with, but you could fuck another woman. Like, why are you in your head so bad, my man? Like, people would die with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Ivan too. I know, like, they're supposed like Ivan's supposed to be like on the spectrum or whatever. So Ivan's just like his own kind of worms. They made him sound so fucking, I don't want to be, ableist. They made him sound so odd in the beginning, but then, like, as the book progresses, he just sounds like a normal fucking dude. Like, everybody, like, I don't know. So Margaret too, and then the parallels between, like, Margaret being older and Ivan being young and Naomi being young and Peter being, I don't know. It's just a book with a lot of people that think a little bit too much. Like I said, if I wanted to be that far deep in somebody's brain, I'd be in my own. Like, I don't. So yeah, I don't have much to say. Honestly, the most interesting part about this whole book to me was Alexi. Like, I was so
Alexi, yes, the
I was
dog.
really excited about the dog. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I caught that the dog's name was Alexi. Now that you mentioned it, I guess I kind of remember that, but yeah, okay.
And then I just feel like, okay, so then I guess now that I just feel like the grief is so far removed from the characters themselves. Like, they talk, like, everybody's like telling them, oh, you're grieving, you're grieving, you're grieving. But I don't feel like we're getting the grief. Like, like, Ivan and Peter seem so far removed from that it just doesn't make sense to me that everyone's saying you're acting like this because of the grief. It's like, it doesn't even cross their fucking mind ever. Like, they never think about that. So why all of a sudden is everybody blaming their shitty ass fucking personalities on grief? Like, I don't know. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I also, I guess, don't really like it that much so far. I think that, like, it sounds like both of you both sound kind of like prejudiced towards this book. I am not prejudiced towards it, but I also am sort of coming to the same conclusion. But I don't know if that makes any sense being in your perspectives, but like it sounds to me almost like you came into this with like baggage. I like have no baggage, and if anything, that to me that's kind of like one of the problems because Julia knows this. Manel probably slightly knows this at this point. Where like I am like vehemently against spoilers, right? I don't watch movie trailers, anything.
Yeah.
And one of like the litmus tests that I get to do on movies that most people do not is, does a movie successfully communicate what it is without me having seen the trailer? And when it doesn't, I think that that's a big failure. And a lot of movies do that. A lot of movies don't declare themselves as an action, as a mystery, as a comedy, or something like that. And I'll all of a sudden be like halfway through it, and I'm like, what is this movie? And that's how I feel about this. I don't know what this book is about. And I feel like I was supposed to have read like, the cover blurb or like the Goodreads shit. And like, that's not what I do. And so this book's not telling me what is the point. So I generally don't really like that, but it still has time to tell me that, I guess, technically. So maybe that's fine, but I have a feeling that it maybe won't do so great with that. I like being in Ivan's head more than the other brother's head. That's for sure. But it's just because I guess it's the pretentiousness you guys talk about. If anything, the guy sounds suicidal, and if he is, then I think that's going to validate to me a lot the way that he's thinking. And at least for me, from my perspective, I hadn't even thought about this until you just said it, Julia. But if I were suicidal because something really, really bad happened, I would be more like Peter than what you're describing. I wouldn't be getting in my head about the thing that's making me suicidal. I would just be that way, and it would be like affecting other random parts of my life. Like I can actually tell you right now, like I have never before met with a psychiatrist before. I met with one today because I'm still having anxiety problems from the summer of like what I went through. And when my anxiety strikes, I am in no way thinking about that night or LaDonna or what actually happened. It's like a bunch of it's just the rest of my life is like crumbling in on me, but it's not that actual thing. And I think I've heard that a lot from like other guys, whether it's depressive or like more anxiety based. Like if you've got a thorn in your side, you're not necessarily focused on the thorn. Maybe women are like different in that regard, but like you'll feel the effects of the thorn without, but you won't actually be like talking or thinking about the thorn. It won't be coming to mind. So to me, that doesn't like bother me. But if anything, I really need this dude to be suicidal, because if he's thinking that way and he's not massively depressed, then it is just sort of like stupid. Like, why is he talking that way? Like the wording he's using is so just
Pretty sure
ostentatiously
he's suicidal.
yeah. And
I very much get that he's
right,
suicidal.
right. And if that's the vibe, if that's what's happening, I sort of understand why his inner dialogue is kind of like that. It'll be like a little bit more validating, but I won't actually like it, because I still just don't like being in his head. But it at least makes sense, because right now it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense where I'm in one brother's head and he's talking like he has like 7 literary degrees, and then the other brother just talks like he's a pure nerd scientist. Well, actually, the nerd scientist part makes sense, but it's the suicidal guy that doesn't make any sense to me. So, I don't know. It could slightly redeem itself there, but it's not like it would like raise its stars. It'll just be like, okay, that makes slight more sense now. But I don't think I'm actually. I don't think there's much that this book can do by the end of it that makes me go like, I like this. But it might make a little bit more logical sense, or it might get even worse in that regard. That's where I'm at.
I had no baggage coming into this book. In fact, I had the opposite of baggage. I was looking forward to it. I was excited to read a Sally Rooney book because I've only heard good things. Other than, I think, you, Manel. You're the only person I've heard was like, I don't like Sally Rooney. So I was just like, I was looking forward to it. I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm curious. Like I've had a lot of friends and like reviews that I've read that are like, oh yeah, like Sally Rooney, like she really, oh yeah, okay, so she really like touches base on like interpersonal relationships and things that people talk about, and I see that. It's just not for me. Now that I think about it, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm okay. Like, and I think we've talked about this too. I don't read to be stuck in like reality. Like I read to escape into something else. So just to hear about like all of this shit, I'm just like, okay, I don't know. And so maybe it just wasn't called to me. But
fair.
Yeah. And then to the point about your anxiety, I guess it is really different from everybody, because I have really bad anxiety, like bad anxiety. I always think about what I'm anxious about though. Like
right.
For me, my anxiety lately has been presenting in the form of health anxiety. I think I'm having a heart attack every single day. I'm over here lifting up my eyebrows like every 5 seconds to make sure I didn't lose like movement on one side of my face. Do you know what I mean? Like that's on my mind all the time. So it's just different. And like you said, maybe it presents itself differently for men, but that's why like I'm looking at them.
Oh, I think she just hooked onto her Wi-Fi. Or she's gone completely. But it's probably the Wi-Fi thing. Because I see her garage in the background. I think she's home.
You see her? I don't see her.
Oh yeah, she's been on for like a while. I was saying that you probably just hooked onto your Wi-Fi, I'm assuming. Or
disconnected. What's the last thing you
heard? Anxiety, eyes, that.
Yeah. So I think it just, like you said, like maybe I'm just interpreting it differently, because I do think about what is making me anxious, like a lot.
And LaDonna is identical, at least when she's having anxiety. Like it's about the thing. But yeah, I don't do that. I got like a buddy of mine named like Victor. We've talked about this. He same thing. Like it's like if I'm anxious about my health, in the midst of my anxiety, I'll be thinking about something I have to do that weekend. And I know it's
Oh, yeah,
about
no.
the health, but
Yeah,
and it's more like while I'm calm, I'll still be thinking about the health, but when it actually flares up, it's not the thing that's on my mind. So, yeah, I don't know. Different brain
Okay.
chemistry or whatever.
And then, like, that's what it is, probably. And then, second, I'm so confused about Naomi. Like, is she an OnlyFans Like, is she an OnlyFans? Is she a sugar baby? Like, the whole, like, how he met her kind of thing is, like, so confusing to me. Also, like, Sylvie, she got in a car accident, so now she can't have sex. Is that what that is?
She's in like chronic pain. That much
Okay,
I get.
okay.
Yeah. I think that you not getting either of those is like one of the points of this book. And I'm not saying it's good, but I think that I think you're supposed to be confused, because if you weren't confused about that, why would you even keep turning the page?
So, what is your guys' theories on Naomi? Sugar baby or OnlyFans?
Both, because they did say that she sells pictures of herself.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while she's
Yeah.
relying on Peter to bail her out and pay her rent and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I think both.
I just figured like courtesan that the guy starts supporting. That happens a lot. That's in my mind some variation of that, whatever that is in 2021 or whenever this is supposed to be.
Got it.
Don't you guys find it weird that all these characters are like so deep in their melancholy that they have not had one joyful thought at all?
Yes.
Like there was no joke. Like nobody even like, oh, look at the sky, it's so pretty today. Nothing like that. All they keep focusing on is the bad and the depressing. And that's in turn making me depressed. Like, what is going on?
I will say too
I refuse
that
to believe that people are like this.
That's pretty accurate for when you're actually depressed.
Okay.
Never like you can go weeks and you'll never look at the sky. I know a few people like that. So, but is it what I want to read? Nope. But
no.
But like, is it outside of reality? I don't think so.
No.
Depending on what they've been through.
And then I think that's to the point of like why I think other people like these books is because it is like a genre that kind of touches on like things that are like everyday thoughts of people and stuff like that. So if you can relate to that, if you like that, I get it. It's for you. It's just not for me at all. Because I was also thinking right now, like, why did we get Margaret? I want to be in Naomi's head. I want to be in Sylvie's head. I don't really give a shit about Margaret, to be honest with you. Margaret's just not doing it for me. Like, I don't, like, why did we get Ivan, Peter, and Margaret? I would have liked Ivan, Peter.
Or just Ivan and Peter. Just the two brothers would have been enough.
In my mind, it should just not go in any woman's mind at all. That probably would have made a little more cohesive sense.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that Margaret is connected to Peter? I thought that when they were having that dinner conversation and he like kind of freaked out and started interrogating like, how old is she? Where does she? You know what I mean? Like, but that doesn't seem possible, right?
I thought he freaked out because he saw the parallels between him and Naomi. And
yeah, that's kind of what I figured it was. He just got so weird about it that I thought that like it was almost like I was hoping that it was more than that, because if it was just that, he got like too weird about it. But I think you're right.
I just want to get through it. Which is why I got through it so fast. I'm gonna fucking read as much as I can tonight.
I'm actually pretty surprised, like, given how you feel about this book. I thought you were gonna come in here saying that you liked it, or you at least thought something was super interesting. Because in my mind, the way you're talking, I thought you would have just said like, "Let's push through," you know. But
I'm going to tell you guys, I was gonna cheat and keep reading because I just want to get over with. I didn't, because I was scared you were gonna look at your server. But yeah, I just want to fucking get through it. Like, I just want to get over it. And then I'm like, do I really want to read Normal People? Like, I don't know. I don't fucking like Intermezzo. Manel, is Normal People better? And it's shorter, because this is a long book too.
Shorter, yeah. This is like 3 times more than Normal People.
Dang.
Normal People you can get through in a day. So it's worth reading if you want to see what other books are like. To me, it's kind of the same. But yeah, give it a go. You might like it. I don't know. It's pretty much the same. The conversations are the same. Characters are mostly the same. Like
The
they get into these
idea,
very deep discussions, and you're
like,
like, what?
to me, like, just like, I have no idea what it's about, obviously, but like the fact that you have a book, like a book that I'm supposed to be interested in, and the book is titled Normal People, I've heard enough. Like, it's probably
Yeah.
going to be a waste of my time, whatever whatever it's about.
Like this type of book just reads to me as a fucking depressing ass TV show, and it's not something I would
Sure.
ever pick. It's not something I want to watch. It's not something I want to be like. I very rarely choose drama to watch if I don't have to, because I don't want to fucking do it. Like, I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to see all this sad shit going on.
Are either of you into watching true crime?
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough. I was just wondering if that was like a certain type of
Actually,
people, but
not a
maybe
lot. And I'm really bad because I watch the same things over and over again. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. I'm rewatching Fleabag. Oh, I'm rewatching Fleabag because they're in Dublin. They had fucking accents, and I was like, oh, I want to watch Fleabag. Also, are you guys reading or listening?
Listening.
I hate how this bitch doesn't use quotation marks. I get it, that's her thing. That's how she wants to write. But like, it's hard to read. It's very difficult to read. So.
Oh, because you're saying you're not listening.
No, I'm listening and I'm reading, but I'm like doing the both of them.
I'm trying to think.
Holy
what
shit,
does she do?
So
She's doing voices, right? Like, I just realized, like if Peter's saying that she said this, is he saying, is the author, I mean, is the narrator saying that part in like a more high pitched voice, or does he just stick with
she just says it, and in the book that's the only reason
right,
why,
because there's technically no actual talking, so we're just getting yeah,
you've
I didn't even think about that.
Was Normal People the same, Manel?
Sorry?
Was Normal People the same?
I think so. They are mostly like run-on sentences. Yeah.
That is incredibly annoying now that you mention it.
Yeah. And then, so just like, so you guys know, I started off reading this one, just like reading it. And it was so weird to me because of the run-on sentences, because of the lack of quotation marks, because of just like steady like stream of thought. I had to stop, listen to it, establish like a cadence and a voice in my head, and then go back to reading so that it was easier for me.
And I only read, but like just to that point, like this was one of those ones where I had to listen to the first maybe 15 minutes, or I don't know, however long it was, at a very slow speed to just get my head into it, and then I was able to crank it. I was afraid that I was going to have to go at like 1.25 the whole time, but then I was cranking it and I was fine. But at first I was like, I cannot, and I think especially because you start off in Peter's head and he's like waxing philosophical with all of his like stupid ideas. And I was trying to do that like at 2x in the beginning. I was like, nope, like I'm not retaining anything.
That's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, down.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys, like when you I don't know, like you remember the super science book, the three body problem?
Yeah.
Would you? Because I'm trying to figure out like where do you delineate between something that's like pretentious and something that just has big vocabulary? Like, what's the difference between this and Babel and Three Body Problem? All of them have like really heady language and very like intellectual things. Why is this pretentious and those are not?
I didn't have enough knowledge or experience to appreciate Three Body Problem. I think if I had that background, if I had more of that information, if I understood the context or like the matter more, it would be better. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think it's a pretentious book. It's just not a book that resonated with me because I don't have that knowledge available to me, and I'm not able to tap into that to read it.
So the problem with this one that it's just like, yeah, but is this one the fact that the problem is that it's just normal ass life but being explained in insanely high language? Is that where the disconnect comes?
Yeah. And also for Babel, like the author did such a good job of explaining things to us, so we didn't really feel left out or stupid.
Yeah.
And this
True.
book is like they're having this like very deep intellectual topics that came out of nowhere, like randomly, like hi, how are okay, there's no hi, how are you either. It's just like, what do you think of God? And like then they go deep
Dude.
diving into that.
When this
And
this
like,
was
where did
this
this
was one
come
of the
from?
most off the wall rando like religious talks that I've heard in a book in a while. Like when this one started, I was
Yeah.
like, what are we even talking about right now? That was weird. It made me
Unless
uncomfortable.
all these characters are on drugs, then I would understand.
That would be
Well, we know
dope.
Peter.
And then, oh yeah, Peter, we actually know
And
he
then
is.
just like even how it started when he was just like, I can't even do an Irish accent. He's just like, who was it? Our mom said it was a lion. Him with his like, why is he talking about everybody in this like weird ass like elaborate way? Do you know what I mean? Like it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Everything is just so unnecessary to just get your point. Like
Unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's probably the word for it.
He put his crumpled suit and came back from the secondhand shop in his bag. Girl, just say that man looked like shit. Like, why did we have to fucking get all
And it's
of
like
that?
instead of actually
You know what I
saying
mean?
that, he would say a crumpled suit, a rainy
Yeah.
sidewalk, a
Yeah.
foggy window.
The sea foam was
cold
bubbling around
handle.
him and all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit. And, like, it's
And
just so much
what
more than
I
it needs.
what
to
I
be.
will
It's so
say
flowery.
is if you like if you take a snippet, if you take any given snippet of Peter's parts, I think they're actually kind of like they can actually be kind of beautiful. Like just a sentence or
Yeah.
two. It's kind of like if you had an entire song or an entire album all the hook from a song, you'd hate it.
Yeah.
The hook of a song is good because you don't get enough of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And like
Mhm.
if he were writing more normally and then just wove in a couple of these things, I think we would think that it was cool. Because a lot of it is like basically like well written. It just sounds it's just nonstop for pages and pages and pages
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
tone never changes, always doing this weird, and I'm like, yeah, it feels very pointless. And
If
you
she
know.
would, if you were to tell me Sally Rooney was switching into poetry, I would support it.
Right.
Because I feel like
yeah.
she's much more adept for that than
Yeah.
a fucking novel.
True. A lot of
Yeah.
it
That makes
feels
sense.
that way. Just constant.
Yeah.
With no off switch.
Yeah. It's like word vomit on every single fucking page, and it's just
Yeah.
like, but it doesn't build a character or the story in any way, shape, or form. For me, at least.
I do at the very least, like I do appreciate that I do appreciate the big tonal change between Ivan and Peter.
That's
even
true.
though
Yeah.
Peter like he makes no sense, but it's like if she never mentioned a character name and she just started talking, you'd know whose mind you're in.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool that they did that, but it's not worth it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, time to slog through.
Remind me to